we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
Now that Trump has denied the existence of and insulted me and my country in front of the eyes of the world and made the most ferocious declaration of war in history that he would destroy the DPRK, we will consider with seriousness exercising of a corresponding highest level of hardline countermeasure in history.
And by the way, Rocket Man should have been handled a long time ago. Little Rocket Man.
He said if the Yankees persist in their extremely dangerous, reckless actions on the Korean peninsula, North Korea's military will ring the windpipes and point daggers at their necks.
We are totally prepared for the second option, not a preferred option, but if we take that option, it will be devastating. I can tell you that, devastating for North Korea. That's called the military option. If we have to take it, we will.
개들이 짖어도 행렬은 간다는 말이 있습니다.
There is a saying, dogs bark, but caravan goes on.
개 짖는 소리로 우리를 놀려보려고 생각했다면 그거야말로 개꿈입니다.
If anyone thinks such remarks that is nothing more than a dog's barking can frighten us, it is really a wild dream.
Mr. Trump called Kim Jong-un rocket boy. How is your response?
그 보좌관들이 불쌍합니다.
I feel pity for his advisors.
The president says, I told Rex Tillerson, our wonderful Secretary of State, that he is wasting his time trying to negotiate with Little Rocket Man, meaning the leader of North Korea. The president added, save your energy, Rex. We'll do what has to be done! Exclamation point.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
The regime warning in an editorial of a, quote, super mighty preemptive strike that will completely and immediately wipe out not only imperialist invasion forces in South Korea and its surrounding areas, but the U.S. mainland and reduce them to ashes.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
최고 통사령관.
Due to his lack of basic common knowledge and proper sentiment, he tried to insult the supreme dignity of my country by referring to it as a rocket. By doing so, however, he committed an irreversible mistake of making our rocket's visit to the entire US mainland inevitable all the more. None other than Trump himself is on a suicide mission.
This taunt clearly rankled the North Koreans.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
The foreign minister came equipped with nicknames of his own.
이것이 바로 오늘날
The person who is chastised even by Americans as Commander in Grief, Lion King, President Evil, is holding the seat of the US presidency and the dangerous reality that the gambler who grew old using threats, frauds, and all other schemes to acquire a patch of land holds the nuclear button. These are what constitute the gravest threat to international peace and security today.
We'll handle North Korea. We're going to be able to handle it. It will be handled. We handle everything.
North Korea's news agency KCNA, I'll read to you just some of the things he said. He said, I will make the man holding the prerogative of the supreme command in the U.S. pay dearly for his speech calling for totally destroying the DPRK. That's a reference, of course, to North Korea. He also went on to say of President Trump, he is unfit to hold the prerogative of supreme command of a country. And he is surely a rogue and a gangster, fond of playing with fire rather than a politician. Again, this is a reaction we're getting from Kim Jong-un to what we heard from President Trump earlier this week. He ends these remarks saying, "A frightened dog barks louder."
The North Korean leader vowing to make Donald Trump pay for threatening to destroy his country at the UN. In a rare direct statement to state media, Kim called Trump mentally deranged, threatening to tame him with fire, and saying he's considering, quote, the highest level of countermeasure in history.
Presidents and their administrations have been talking to North Korea for 25 years. Agreements made and massive amounts of money paid. Hasn't worked, agreements violated before the ink was dry, making fools of U.S. negotiators. Sorry, but only one thing will work. So we still don't know what that one thing is.
Diplomats feel the situation is dangerous. The insults being hurled may sound like schoolyard language.
What we learned yesterday was essentially that Tillerson says he has a direct line of communication with Pyongyang. That was a big deal. So now we have the president dismissing that. Does that seem threatening to you?
I mean, everything is threatening when you have a madman. And I'm not just talking about Trump. They're both madmen, and it's all brinksmanship.
And there's talk of North Korea carrying out an atmospheric nuclear test. That's a dangerous proposition, which would be conducted in the Pacific Ocean, unlike the previous 6 nuclear tests, which were contained underground.
I think it could be a hydrogen bomb test on the ground of an unprecedented scale in the Pacific Ocean.
That may sound like a typically vague threat, but claims of what it could mean are chilling. The North's foreign minister apparently suggesting that Pyongyang could hit back with a hydrogen bomb rocket test over the Pacific. North Korea conducted its 6th and largest nuclear test earlier this month as it presses ahead with plans to build an atomic weapon that could hit the United States.
The Pentagon calculates this missile flew longer and higher than any previous North Korean attempt. That means it has a potential range of more than 6,500 miles, putting Los Angeles, Denver, and Chicago, possibly even New York and Boston in its range, according to some calculations.
Analysts do believe that the missile launched today did have the range to hit Los Angeles, Chicago, or even New York.
North Korea claims it has successfully tested a hydrogen bomb, a device which can be loaded onto a long-range ballistic missile.
Officials in South Korea and Japan say they believe that North Korea has conducted its 6th nuclear test. A magnitude 6.3 tremor was recorded near Sungjaberem, the North's nuclear test facility. The earthquake was believed to have been triggered by an explosion. Well, Chinese authorities say they've also detected a second tremor, apparently the result of the cave collapsing in which this device was tested. Now, only a few hours earlier, Pyongyang reported that it had developed a thermonuclear weapon. The new technology can supposedly be loaded onto an intercontinental ballistic missile.
Now hearing, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, that it was of a magnitude 6.3. That is an upgrade of the initial number of 5.2. We're now hearing that indeed it was a massive explosion of 6.3 on the Richter scale. We, of course, working to get more details, but we can tell you that the South Koreans and the USGS have all said that this was a man-made development, a man-made explosion.
Now he's talking about a massive weapon exploding over the ocean, Pacific Ocean, which causes tremendous calamity. Where that plume goes, so goes cancer, so goes tremendous problems. And I want to tell you something, and I'm sure he's listening because he watches every word, and I guarantee you one thing, he's watching us like he never watched anybody before. That I can tell you. That I can tell you.